Welcome back to the Fan Channel Review. Hit the like and the share button. We've got some massive irony from Tottenham fans here. Liverpool supporters, not all of them, let me just get that in there now, talking about nobody should speak on their football club because they're not Liverpool fans. We're going to touch on that take. Plus, final bridge, the end of Mark Goldbridge. He nearly died. I'm not even joking. That's not even hyperbolic. You're going to see it in a few minutes if you haven't seen it already. But hit the like buttons and subscribe. Let's jump straight into it and start here with Mark. As you can see, his new set is set up in his home studio. Take a little look.
It's the same old one.
That's mad. Genuinely. Look at his face. Look at his face. Right, because he's not hurt, I'm going to laugh about it because it was a near-death experience. He didn't actually get hurt, right? But look.
Fucking hell.
Look, first of all, right, watch it again. I mean, it's so close to his head. Watch.
It's the same old one.
I mean, it's there, right? It's just missed his head, right? But again, listen to how heavy this thing is. There are some things that you can put up in studios that, you know, the shelves in here, they're like hollow. If you hit someone in the head with it, they'd laugh, right? It wouldn't hurt anybody. But listen to the noise.
Old one. Fucking hell.
My God.
Just broke my set. And my arm.
Yeah, and nearly your head. They're, honest to God, right? He clearly didn't glue it or screw it to the wall. Don't cut corners with DIY. Honestly, I've been in A&E a few times, predominantly with injuries when I play football or doing the martial arts. The amount of people you would see in there on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon, right, who just cut a corner or weren't concentrating at home, DIY, cooking, gardening. Do you know what I'm saying? And they're messed up. The guy lives on my street. He bought these kids this like swimming pool that he had to build up himself. And he was streaming, and he was too lazy to walk around it. So he just thought he'd go over it. And he fell in with the strimmer in his hand and electrocuted himself. Thankfully, nowadays, there are breakers, right? And you don't really get as hurt. But I just said to him, why'd you do it? When I was lazy, I couldn't bother to walk around it. And it literally would have added like 10 seconds to his job. Don't cut corners, people. I'm glad Mark is okay, though, but crazy.
Fucking hell.
Crazy. It could have been a lot worse. Hit the like and the share button if you've not done so already. Now, look, I want to start off with a claim from a top. No, actually, no, we're going to start with Liverpool. I saw this tweet from a Liverpool fan saying how to leave a football club properly. And I've seen a lot of these takes in the last few weeks. How to leave a football club properly. Here is Firmino leaving. He's getting a standing ovation. Everybody's still loving him. Now, I'm very mindful that this isn't from an account here that's got their real name or their real face, but I've seen a lot of people with their real names and faces retweeting, quote tweeting, commenting, saying, we totally and utterly agree with this. This is the right way to leave a football club. But then it got me into doing a little bit of research and got me into doing a little bit of looking. He left on a free as well after winning everything with the club. So I thought, well, what's the difference? And you'll hear that he isn't local, born and bred. And I thought, yeah, that could be it. That could be it. But what really I think is going on here is that Firmino was past his best. Therefore, Liverpool fans couldn't care less that he was leaving. They were sad from the perspective of, it's over. We loved what you gave us. You were amazing, magnificent, brilliant, and you won it all for us. You helped win it all for us. But because you're past your best, go and do whatever you want. The difference here is that Trent is not past his best, but still was decided to leave on a free, not renew a contract. The club could have sold him 2 or 3 years ago, but Liverpool fans, by and large, are backing FSG in this. And what it's also led to is comments such as this. Now, Zane here says, if you're not a Liverpool fan, you cannot tell us how we should feel about a boyhood Scouser who previously said he wants to be captain and stay forever leaving. The element I agree with is that nobody can really tell you how to feel. You feel how you feel. However, you can feel angry about a situation that you are judging wrong. So I can't control or never try to control how anybody feels. But if you're upset about something that you don't need to be upset about in life, some people can tell you. I'll give you an example. I once had a friend who had a friend of mine was owed money by this guy that he didn't really like. And he was annoyed because he wouldn't give it to him. And I always remember one of the older guys in our gym said to him, well, you don't like him, do you? He goes, yeah. And he bothers you. He said, yes. He goes, well, you've lent him 50 quid and now he's avoiding you because he doesn't want to pay you back. Look at it from this perspective. It costs you £50 to get this idiot out of your life. And I remember I was only about 17, 18. I thought, I love that. That makes a lot of sense. But it taught me sometimes you've got to look at things through a different prism and different perspective. And often in life, people outside of the emotional element of a conversation can often impart a lot of wisdom because they're not thinking emotionally, they're thinking logically. However, Liverpool fans are entitled to feel and react however they want. But remember, your reaction and your behavior is not beyond approach. It's not beyond reproach, is not beyond criticism. Facts. Equally, it got me thinking when I saw this tweet. I thought, Will Zane here and the many, many Liverpool fans like her have this same energy when it comes to talking points with other clubs. When it comes to how Man United should feel about keeping Bruno Fernandes, how Spurs fans feel about sacking Big Ange, about what Arsenal fans feel through whether they should back Arteta or not, how Newcastle fans feel if they were to keep and/or sell Isak. Will these Liverpool fans keep the same energy? Will they have the same view of, well, I'm not going to tell Arsenal fans or United fans or Newcastle fans how they should think or feel relating to their club? How, are they going to echo this energy? Or is this just a deflection tactic of people are making really good points about how we feel? They're making really great points as to why we're looking at this wrong, why Trent's right, or how Trent isn't to blame. And instead of addressing the arguments and having a conversation, is this merely a deflection tactic? I'd love to get your views. I'd love to get your opinions in the comment section below. But remember, fan discourse is important when it comes to football. So let me know below. Now, we all know that Spurs have been broken by Arsenal in the modern day game, that they are obsessed. And often with obsession, you lose clarity of thought. You lose clarity of thought. There's no doubt about it. And I saw this tweet. We're all doing this at the minute. I did it yesterday. I haven't had a response yet. We're asking, is it Gork? I don't even know how to pronounce the AI on Twitter. How many trophies have Arsenal won since they spent 700 million on their squad? Answer in one word. Clearly, Mr. Black Football here, who, by the way, is a Tottenham fan. I looked at his account. He is a Tottenham fan. Absolute cast iron Tottenham supporter, mocking Arsenal for not winning any trophies since 700 million has been spent at the club. The thing is, right? The thing is, there is so much irony in this. It's unbelievable.
Oh my God!
Total spend since Arteta's appointment at Arsenal. Arsenal spent £611 million. Spurs in that time, okay, have spent 695 million. And this is what I mean. Like, this is what's crazy. Arsenal are rightfully criticized for so far not winning trophies this season. So far, and last season not winning trophies. And for the last 2 seasons, not winning trophies, there was massive criticism, and correctly so. And that has been applied by 95% of Arsenal fans. Some more aggressively than others, more assertively than others, but they've applied it. But the way Arsenal were treated compared to the other top 6 teams in terms of total spend, it's always projected, always framed like in the past 5 years, they've outspent everybody else. And this simply isn't true. And by the end of this summer, it's very likely that Chelsea already, Man United, City are going to spend really, really big, 200 or nearly 200 million in the January just gone, probably 300 million this summer. Plus Spurs, as you've seen, have all spent more, right? Now, that doesn't justify Arsenal not winning. That isn't an excuse. But when it comes to having critical thinking and using your brain, You have to be fair in this. And the fact that this Spurs fan, because Arsenal have broken him, because of his hatred towards them, has put out that tweet. It's just, for me, again, all seriousness aside, it's just hilarious. Spurs have got no leg to stand on when saying, look how much money Arteta has spent. They have spent more money in that time than Arteta. And they're 14th, 15th in the league. You honestly, sometimes in life, you cannot make it up.
Stop it. Get some help.
Now, next, I want to speak. Listen, the Arsenal agendas are amazing. I saw this tweet yesterday. A guy called Luke says here, Oliver Glasner is 2 wins away at Wembley from equaling Mikel Arteta's whole managerial achievements over the last 6 years, with just 50 million spent compared to the 850 million. Well, first of all, he's added over 200 million pounds of spending. And this is what I mean, where the serious analysis on Sky gets infiltrated into the banter and goes wrong, right? 239 million pounds has been added to that spend. That's ridiculous, right? That's not an exaggeration. That is absolutely crazy. What I also loved about this is he tweeted the same thing about Nuno, but he left off the money. And of course, he says here he has transformed Nottingham Forest team that is chasing down Arsenal in the league, having only been in charge since June 2023. Okay, he doesn't do phases; he just wins football matches. And what I love about this, I know everyone's annoyed about the phases conversation, but people also ignore that the phases are not directly connected to Arteta. It's just when Arsenal started when Josh Kroenke kind of took over the day-to-day operations, when Edu came in, Arteta, it was all done almost simultaneously. There was a bit of overlap, of course, but they started the project at that stage from being a broken down shadow of them former selves to now being title contenders. And in their hope, they hope to go on to the next level. The irony in talking about Nottingham Forest is that their new owner came in May 2017, has spent exorbitant amounts of money, and 8 years later, after beginning the rebuild, 8 years later, they're in a FA Cup semi-final, which is amazing for Forest. They're in a Champions League position. They're having a beautiful season. But phases are not dictated by managers. Slot at Liverpool is not in phase 1. He may have to rebuild some of the squad, but it isn't a club cultural rebuild. And I think the mainstream media have done a shit job of educating people on this. When Pep leaves, the new manager doesn't start at phase 1. When Arteta leaves, say Arteta did get sacked this summer, say he did, or say from a positive point, he wins the Champions League and Madrid hire him, right? I'm just throwing out these examples. The new manager don't start phase 1. You take over from where the previous guy left off. For me, we have to be really careful about these conversations. You have to look at when was the entire plan, structure, culture, methodology, style of play, the whole thing. When did the club start to doesn't mean you can't change direction. Doesn't mean you can't start off by buying stars and then go, right, we're going to slightly adapt here and move towards younger players from this region. You can always be agile. But the rhetoric is crazy. It really, really is. But I reckon he had these tweets saved for whichever manager's got through to the next round. And equally, I'm not going to start boiling football success down to purely winning trophies. Of course, trophies are the ultimate aim and the ultimate goal. I do not disagree. And if Palace or Forest win it, they deserve massive amounts of congratulations. Same as I've given to Newcastle. Absolutely. But it isn't the only level of success. It isn't the only level of success. And I think if Crystal Palace fans were honest, I bet they're well happy being in that semi-final. But if you said you could give up that semi-final this season, but for the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years, you'll be as good a football team week in, week out as Arsenal, would you swap? Many would, because in many people, you've only got to look at the trophies Arsenal won in the last 30 years compared to Palace. You've got more chance of winning trophies if you're as good as Arsenal than if you're generally as good as what Palace are. So success for me isn't just this binary, you won something this year, good, or you didn't, you're bad. You have to look at it in a much wider spectrum, in my personal opinion. But I love how this guy had all of these tweets ready to go. He also tweeted this that I thought was amazing, which was fast forward 15 years. This will be Mikel Arteta's trophy cabinet. We're looking at the next Roberto Martinez. this Luke chap, Lucky Luke, I mean, literally, you could see the agendas there. But I honestly thought people would be sick and tired of the Arsenal agenda by now. I thought they'd be sick and tired of I'm just like my crusade to prove he's bad at what he does. And it's honestly, I would love to also see what Luke's, and just I would say this: if you enjoy a little bit of social media fun like me, bookmark Luke's account, save it somewhere. And if Arsenal ever win another trophy, go back and see what he says. It's either going to be complete silence and not addressing his mistake, or the can gets kicked to, yeah, I know he won the quote unquote Premier League, but it took him 6 years. That ain't good enough. But I love it. I love it. And this is all fun and games. As ever, people, I'd love your views on this. Mark Goldbridge near-death experience. What do you make of the Liverpool fans' claim? Should rivals keep their nose out of Liverpool business? Should we not comment on it? Are we not allowed opinions because we don't understand the emotional connection Liverpool fans have to their players? Plus, the irony around some of these claims being made against Arsenal, because other teams are doing well, I find crazy. But I'd love to get your views. I'd love to get your opinions on this in the comment section below. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon.